Let's talk about cycle testing with CAMEO. I'm sure you know what CAMEO is, but what do we mean with cycle-based testing? With cycle-based testing, we mean testing of a UUT with a transient driving cycle as basis for the load being applied to the UUT. So far, so good. But why is this important for us? Well, of course, we know cycle-based testing for many years, especially from legislative tests. But now, cycle-based testing plays an increasingly important role in the development process as well. One could say that cycle-based testing is kind of a replacement, or at least an extension, for the steady-state grid measurements. And this is not only true for conventional propulsion systems, but especially also for the many applications in the electrification domain. But could you do that with other applications as well? Sure, and it has been done in the past. Cycles have been executed with AVL's automation system Puma for years, just to name one example. And in my opinion, Puma is the most powerful and versatile automation system out there. So how can CAMEO help in addition? The cycle execution with CAMEO is system independent. It doesn't work only with Puma, it works with any compatible automation system. But not only with automation systems. Cycles can also be executed at your hill or sill system. In addition, the cycle execution is not limited to one single system. You can execute cycles with tracks from different systems. The execution frequency can be up to 100 Hz, and the length of the cycle and the number of tracks is only limited by a maximum test size of 2 GB. Also very powerful is the cycle editor. Let's see in a live demo how you can benefit with CAMEO. Let's have a look at the cycle editor. The cycle editor is a completely new functionality in CAMEO. I'm here in the CAMEO application demo database, and I'm going to show you the most important features of the editor. Here I have imported cycle data already. You can do this via the import button over here. And important to mention is that CAMEO supports a lot of different input data formats, not only CSV or MDF, but actually all import formats are supported, which are supported by the Concerto Data Explorer, as we use this component as the basis of our data import. If you unfold the single tracks, you can visually see how the data looks like and how execution is going to work. An important feature is the definition of control modes, especially if you run a cycle at an automation system. You can do this very intuitively just by selecting which control mode should be applied for which part of the cycle. All the control modes present in your current systems are available here. If you want to change a cycle in CAMEO, you can do this via the Edit Track button. Different functionalities how to edit a cycle track are available here. You can do it either via mouse, drag and drop, or via entering absolute values here. Or you can zoom in and even change single data points individually. For each track, you can assign the system channel that the values are applied during the execution of the cycle. And you can specify whether you want to interpolate the data or not. In addition to just using the imported data, you can also define data via scripts. Scripts can be written in C# or in Python language, and you can use all the imported data to calculate new tracks out of your imported data. And you can use all the logic being available with C# or with Python. With the application demo database, there comes various examples of prepared scripts, and you can have a look yourself if you install Cameo and try this out. When starting a cycle, it's important that your engine or your UUT is in safe condition. So a feature is implemented guaranteeing a safe cycle start, either in the beginning of a cycle or also after a cycle is interrupted by a limit. In addition, it can also be specified whether you want to do an ECU restore before or after the cycle. As just mentioned, cycles can be interrupted by limits, and different limit reactions are available in Cameo. So you can pause and continue the test, or you can also restart the cycle or stop the test if a limit happens. If you want to parameterize specific actions that happen during a limit violation, you can use post and pre-actions to perform any kind of action that steer your UUT out of a potentially dangerous region. In addition to limits, it's also possible to specify trigger points for executing actions in Cameo. You do this with a right mouse click and insert an action here. The green line shows where the action is being parameterized. And to get an overview over all parameterized actions, you can navigate to the Actions tab up here. And also here you see the specified actions. Important to mention is that you can not only define fixed times, but you can also specify settings or even formulas to define when your action is going to be executed during the cycle execution. What else is there to mention? The cycle as such is being called by actions in the Cameo Actions tab. And when calling an action, you can specify the start time and the end time of a cycle. So if you want a cycle to be cut into several pieces, you can do this via this possibility here. In addition to the start and the end time, we also have a position channel, and the position channel gives you the current time the cycle execution is at the moment. This can be used to resume a cycle if it has been interrupted in the middle, when storing the position to a setting, for example, and restoring its context at the resumption of a test. In terms of visualization of a cycle, we have a new control in the layouts. And here you can visualize your cycle. That especially helps if you use layouts in a test sequence. You can even in the test sequence see which cycles are parameterized and used in the test.